Beam Saber is a forged-in-the-dark role-playing game about the pilots of powerful machines in a war that dominates every facet of life. They're trying to do their part, then get out physically and mentally intact. The organizations that perpetuate the war throughout all of known space are too incomprehensibly huge to take down. There's no winning the war, there's only surviving it. Hopefully, you can help others get out too. Beam Saber is inspired by media such as Generation Kill, Friends at the Table, and of course Gundam, specifically the 08th MS team. These heavily inspire the 10 playbooks for your pilot and the 8 playbooks for your squad. It's a game focusing on the relationships between people and how they express their desires through their giant, idealized or robotic bodies. With that in mind, let's have a look at the mechanics that support these themes. Being a forged-in-the-dark system, Beam Saber is a fiction-first game. Fiction-first is the practice of using the game's narrative to determine what mechanics are used, rather than using mechanics to decide what happens in the fiction. In many games, a player will take an action by saying something like, "I shoot the target." They roll to shoot, and any description of the situation, such as, "I peek around the corner and fire a quick shot," is an afterthought. Ultimately, the fiction takes a back seat to the mechanics, and the game could be played without any narration at all. In Beam Saber, the mechanics flow from the narrative. Once the action is selected, the character rolls a few 6-sided dice, usually 2 or 3, and takes the highest. A 1 to 3 means the action fails and there's a consequence. A 4 or 5 is success with a consequence. A 6 means you succeed with no consequences, and 2 6s mean you get a critical success, and the outcome is even better than expected. The primary way that Beam Saber emphasizes the relationships between the pilots is with the cut-loose, connection, assist loop. Between missions, pilots refresh by having a cut-loose scene with another pilot. This might be having an argument, getting beers, or playing games together, whatever feels appropriate. The 2 players describe or play out the scene, and at the end, the initiating player recovers stress. After removing stress, the initiating pilot gains a deeper connection with their partner. As that bond deepens, the players create beliefs about each other's pilots, which can provide XP if it causes them to struggle. Speaking of struggling, during missions, players can assist each other by spending stress. The more emotionally invested you are in your squad mates, the more stressful it is when they need your aid, and the harder you push yourself to help them. This of course results in stress buildup, requiring another cut-loose scene, and voila, the cut-loose connection assist loop. Drives are how Beam Saber centers the goals and interiorities of the characters. They put control of the wider narrative directly into the player's hands by focusing on what they want to change in the world. This might be to retire safely, ensure the child empress reaches adulthood, or start a company. The one thing drives can't do is end the war. There's too much inertia pushing too many pieces towards conflict. If you want to change the life of one person, you can do it yourself. But if you want to change the larger world, you'll need the help of your squad mates. Beam Saber isn't just about pilots. It's also about their massive war machines. These vehicles are not just a mean of engaging in war, they're representative of the pilot within. It's as tied to the pilot's reputation as their face and actions. Not only is it part of the pilot's public identity, it also reflects who they are. Pilots that favor misdirection out of the cockpit will have vehicles that use similar methods. The vehicles piloted those that consider themselves just pawns in the conflict will be basic workhorse models, and those who think they are grand will put capes and gold on their vehicle. Players design their vehicles by describing the mobility, style, cockpit, arms, and other details of the machine. These descriptions will direct the narrative surrounding the vehicle, centering on the previously discussed fiction-first actions. For example, if your vehicle is a smaller model, then it can easily move through cramped spaces, but it won't be as effective if it rams into something. Vehicles also emphasize their design through their quirks. These are qualities about the vehicle that a pilot can take advantage of once per mission to get an extra die or to be more effective. However, they also have a downside that can be called upon for XP if they cause their pilot to struggle during a mission. Think of them as part of the vehicle that the camera focuses on in the movie version of your game when you do something incredible. Beam Saber is a project that everyone involved is extremely excited about. It tells stories about people struggling to survive in conflict that strains their bodies, minds, and morals. What danger will you be confronted with when you climb into the cockpit? We hope you'll support this Kickstarter campaign so we can find out together.